So let's jump right into these Jimmy Rig DIY locks that I did on my hair. First, I bought a couple bundles of the 4C dread hair, and I also bought a mannequin who was supposed to have 4C hair. After I washed her hair, it was no longer 4C. It was really soft, but I kept going, and I two-strand twisted her hair. Each two-strand twist was 2 dreads, and in the end, I ended up with about 350 or so dreads that I made on her. That took me about 2 weeks. Then I had to remove my locks. I started off by cutting my blonde at the longest part. And this is kind of what I was left with. It's a hot mess. And now was the hard part. It took me an hour to take down one dread, and that was not going to do. So I went back and I cut some more. After I cut the other part off, I got a lot closer and I was cutting the blonde, which didn't matter to me because hair grows back. But it only took me about 2 hours once I cut that off. And I simply used the end of the comb to get the first part of the ends open. And then it just unraveled because I stopped rolling and locking my hair when I knew I was going to be doing this over. And this is what I was left with. And this is the amount of hair that I combed out of my head, which wasn't a lot. So in all, it took me about 3 hours. Now I had to install my locks. I went back to the mannequin. I cut the locks off of her head. She looked like she has the mane now. And I used the tool, the one with the 1 and the 2 prong. I didn't use the 3 prong one. And I attached those locks from the mannequin to my hair. And it took me a minute. That's me at work taking a picture. It looks like my hair is done, but it really isn't. When I get in my office and take my hat off, that's what the back looked like. So I did the perimeter, and then every day when I got home, I would just do a little more till my fingers were sore. And basically, it took a minute for me to get all of those locks in, but I got them done. And then I went back and used the other tool to do a 4-point interlock on all of them. So that's why it looks nice and cleaned up. And now they are all in. And in all, the actually placing the locks in took me an entire week, 7 days. Then I went on to coloring. I went to Sally's and bought myself some new supplies, and I started off with a brightener or lightener instead of doing bleach, and my color of choice was this light tangerine brown. And I used a 20 developer on that, and I'll go back to that later. This was supposed to give me all of these arrays of color. So I put on my battle gear, which was my cape and my dyeing glasses. I parted my hair down the middle, and I also reparted it, and I started off with the brightening. And what I did was I brightened the ends with the 40 developer. I used the 30 developer to go over the tops of some areas. And basically, you can see the color variation as it started to turn. Once I washed it out, I could really see what got bright and what didn't. And that was exactly what I wanted, was the different colors all throughout it. And once I got done with all of the lightening, I took my 20 developer and went back with my light brown tangerine. And the 20 developer is supposed to be better when you were doing gray. And I have to say, it did cover my gray up pretty good. And it looked burgundy when I put it in, which scared me a little bit because I was going for that brown-orange mixture. I also decided to take some bundles of the hair and dye it also so that I could fix any dreads without having to re-dye. And remember, all of the lightening that I did happened on the extension and not exactly on my hair. But close to my root is where I only used the 20 developer, and it was to go for that brownish orange and cover up my gray. And I think it did a pretty good job. I like the way the colors are because I wanted that messy kind of color everywhere. So in the end, coloring took me a whole day on Saturday, and those extra pieces are what I used to fix and mend any dreads, and with the hair already being colored, it made it easy to match. And so this is my final look. I went outside to record, but of course I didn't have the mic on. So I just wanted you to be able to see the color in a better light than inside my house. I'm very happy with the outcome of it. I do have some work still to do on them. So I will be doing some updates as I'm wearing them. But all in all, that Jimmy Rig project worked out good for me. Thanks for watching Fran at Officially Fran.